Beautiful. Okay, then. Well, good morning, everybody, and I hope that you're having a good day so far. The summer is not being delivering really, but there we are. We have to get used to it and make the best, isn't it? I'm Anna Pallison, for those of you who do not know me, and I'm the director of Parkinsons UK Cymru. And it is really good to be here with Adult Learning Wales this morning. We, Parkinsons UK Cymru, we are the main charity in the UK dedicated to improve the lives of people who live with Parkinsons and internationally to develop research leading to better treatments and eventually also to a cure. I am grateful to Adult Learning Wales and to Sarah in particular for inviting me to have this session with you, and delighted too that you have an interest in learning about Parkinson's as a condition and also about all its implications. The session will cover facts about Parkinson's, obviously, and also the work that we as an organization do here in Wales. We will also have some times for questions and answers at the end, because at the moment I cannot see the chat box, and you are muted anyway. So at the end we'll change the format so that that can be done. And any questions that I may not be able to respond to today, I will make sure that the answer comes back to you later via Adult Learning Wales. The session is being recorded, as you know, and so the idea is that if you want to revisit any of the parts of it at any time, you can do that. Or if other colleagues have been unable to attend today and would have wanted to, they will be able to. But just before we start, and to get us going and warm up a little bit, I'd like to start with a very brief quiz, very much as an icebreaker. I hope that those of you with prior knowledge, this quiz helps you to revisit or reinforce it. And for those of you for whom the subject is newer, I do hope you also find this icebreaker as a good introduction to the session itself. Before we start the icebreaker, can I ask, does any one of you have Parkinson's or know of someone who does? Please don't feel obliged to answer if you prefer not to. But if you can just on the chat box put a tick or something, or raise your virtual hand if it's a yes, then Sarah can let me know.
We have 3 hands up at the moment.
3 hands, okay. So from the number of people who have joined today, clearly we have a diverse level of understanding, and as clearly some of you do have the knowledge of the condition, whilst many of you may not. So, however, as I mentioned before, I do hope that this session is equally valuable today for everybody's learning. I'd like to do this very brief quiz. So we're in a safe space, it is anonymous. The questions in the quiz will be explained within the session. So each of your answers will help us to increase our collective knowledge, really. But okay, so the first question, what is Parkinson's? So can people just quickly, Sarah, you help me to do the chatting of this very quickly. Okay, so hands up. An infectious disease, a neurological condition, or an illness transmitted by mosquitoes. Which of those 3 do you think Parkinson's is?
Neurological.
How many people think that is a neurological condition? Majority? Brilliant. Yeah. Thank you. Well done. Yeah. How many people in Wales live with Parkinson's? About 8,300, about 200, about 10,000.
10,000.
Any others?
I think it might be more than that. I don't know.
8,300.
That's a correct answer. We do not have a precise 100% answer because we do not have a national register for neurological conditions specifically for each condition, but this is the closest extrapolation that has been made of recently, and we are currently doing another prevalence study to see how that has changed, because it's been projected to increase significantly, but at the moment in Wales 8,300. How many symptoms can manifest in Parkinson's? About 10, more than 100, or about 40?
I think about 40 because a relative has it and she has quite a lot of symptoms, but hers is an atypical form of Parkinson's, which isn't your usual one, you know. It's not, and I think it's different for every person as well. They all have different things.
Thank you. You want to take over the whole talk? You've summarized it all. Thank you very much. Well done. Yes.
Sorry.
It is,
Yeah.
no, that's absolutely fine. Thank you. As I said at the beginning, we have a diverse level of knowledge here, and the idea is to share that. So it is about 40 different symptoms, but everybody's different, of course. What is the cure for Parkinson's at the moment? So we have 3: a special diet, brain surgery, or there is not yet a cure.
There's not yet a cure.
That's correct. That's correct. Okay, so let's have a look at what's Parkinson's. I have a very brief video here that I hope is going to work for everybody. But let's just start with a brief explanation that will reinforce what has been said. It is a progressive neurological condition where the dopamine-making cells within the brain gradually die. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter. In other words, it's a chemical messenger made in the brain. It acts on areas of the brain to give you feelings of pleasure, satisfaction, and motivation. Dopamine also has a role to play in controlling memory, mood, sleep, learning, concentration, movement, and other body functions. Hence why the symptoms can be so many and varied. We don't yet know exactly why people get Parkinson's, but we know that it's a combination of age, genetic, and environmental factors. And the symptoms appear when dopamine levels become too low. This is because, obviously, the cells in the brain that cause dopamine-producing nerve cells have stopped working properly. But also, we know that it's the fastest growing neurological condition in the world. And the numbers for Wales, we have it here, approximately 8,300 people in Wales live with a condition, and we know that is going to increase. At the moment, and that's UK-wide, and that is globally, is the fastest growing condition. And of course, once a person has Parkinson, it's not only the individual, but it's the whole kind of family network that are affected really by it. Unlike healthcare professionals and some people living with a condition, in Parkinson's UK, we call it Parkinson's. We don't use the word disease because some people with Parkinson's have told us it sounds negative or like an infectious illness, which is not infections, of course. Okay, so let's go to just saying that Parkinson's is the fastest growing neurological condition in the world. And can you see the slide with the clock?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we know that every hour 2 more people are diagnosed with the condition in the UK. So that's also people who live with, not only people who have the condition, but people who live with people who have the condition also get affected, of course. And as I explained, we don't use the word disease because some people have told us it sounds negative or like an infectious illness, which it is not, clearly. How is Parkinson's diagnosed? Parkinson's tends to develop gradually. It may be many months or even years before the symptoms become obvious enough for someone to visit their GP. It is not always easy to diagnose, and there's currently no biomarkers, and in other words, a single or definitive test that can diagnose the condition, and there are other conditions that have similar symptoms as well. The risk of developing Parkinson's increases with age. Most people who get Parkinson's are aged 50 or over, but younger people can get it too. So what are the symptoms? as we said before, and the video you weren't able to see, but I will share all the slides. There can be more than 40 symptoms, and as it was said earlier on, they are motor, non-motor, and also cognitive. But the symptoms sometimes might have the order that appear, and how quickly they develop will be different for everyone, because everyone is different, of course. For many people, the condition can take years to progress to a point where it has a real impact on daily life. And that is because, like if it was said earlier on, everyone is different and we are all individuals. So medication and treatments. Drugs that are taken for Parkinson's will do one or more of the following. They will increase the amount of dopamine in the brain, act as a dopamine substitute, or will block actions of the factors, the enzymes that break the dopamine down. But there are also significant side effects of the medication, which can include impulsive and compulsive behaviors, hallucinations and delusions, and blood pressure changes. And not everyone who takes Parkinson's medications will experience impulsive or compulsive behaviors. This can include gambling, becoming shopaholic, binge eating, or focusing on sexual feelings and thoughts. And you can imagine the huge impact that this can have on people's lives. Similarly, with hallucinations and delusions, which to the person are real. And again, not everybody will experience that. And sometimes blood pressure drugs can make the pressure go down, and so it can produce dizziness or even a fainting. But one really important thing about medication is that patients with Parkinson's are at risk of significant harm if they don't take their medication on time every time. And on time means within 30 minutes of the prescribed time. Even short delays can worsen symptoms, and this can include rigidity, pain and tremors, increasing the risk of falls, as well as causing stress, anxiety and swallowing issues, increasing the risk of aspiration, which is the largest cause of mortality amongst Parkinson's people who live with Parkinson's. Shockingly, we know through a clinical audit that over half of people with Parkinson's don't get the medication on time every time when they are in hospital. And this leads to worse patient outcomes, longer recovery times, and of course, increased costs for the NHS. And this is why we have the Get It On Time campaign. Apart from the drugs, which are the main symptoms, there's also an intervention called deep brain stimulation, which is a pulse generator, a device like a heart pacemaker, and is placed under the skin around the chest or the stomach area. It's connected to one or two fan wires that are then inserted into specific areas of the brain. When the pulse generation is switched on, the electrodes deliver high-frequency stimulations that target the area. Therefore, stimulating changes some of the electrical signals that will make the brain improve with the causes of symptoms of Parkinson's. Deep brain stimulation is not suitable for everyone. We know that exercise and physical activity is absolutely important. Research has shown us that regular, moderate to vigorous, particularly physical activity, can help relieve some of the motor symptoms of Parkinson's, as well as improving the overall well-being of people. So staying active helps to maintain balance, strength and coordination, and it also lifts the mood, supports the neurons in the brain, and it helps us to be better mentally and physically. And many people with the condition say that exercise is as important as medication. So very briefly, just an overlook of our work here in Wales. As an organization, we work to a human rights-based approach of fairness, respect, equality, dignity, and autonomy, freedom. This means that our approach is highly co-productive with people living with Parkinson's, and we co-plan, co-design, and co-deliver in collaboration with people living with Parkinson's. We have support services with a free and confidential helpline, the number you will have when I send you the slides. We can help people with medical issues, with employment and benefits, with health and social care issues, emotional support, local activities, and signposting to other sources of information. We also have a team of local advisors across the UK and here in Wales, covering the whole of Wales. Again, I have another video, but
My Parkinson's local advisor she is awesome. Absolutely awesome. It's an additional burden worrying about finances when you're dealing with a condition that you know is degenerative. And we were talking about ESA. It's a kind of a top up for my income. She mentioned, you know, she said, well, you'll be getting that regularly, won't you? And I went, it stopped. Well, what's it stopped for? She wrote so many letters and made so many phone calls, and it went on for nearly 12 months. And you're thinking, if they don't sort it out, I'm not going to be able to pay the bills at the end of the month. I was getting more and more despondent as the year went on because they were throwing demands at me, having to go for medical, letters coming through the door every week, asking for something else, more information on this, more information on that. And stress, the worry, it was making me ill. And it was Vicky who kept putting things back into perspective for me and saying, Diane, we'll sort this out, we can do this. If you're worried about it, just ring me. And she was always there for me. She really was instrumental in getting it sorted out for me. My guardian angel. It's essential that you have somebody that you can phone and talk to and who can come out and help you. And I think it's fantastic that Parkinson's UK can offer that.
great. So this is an example of some of the activities that we organize alongside people with Parkinson's, so that people get involved in all sorts of, leading on all sorts of activities. So, for example, boccia is the only Paralympic sport with no Olympic equivalent. And during World Parkinson's Day, which is in every year on the 11th of April, we held 4 regional tournaments and an all Wales final. And it was organized alongside some art exhibitions around Wales, as well as other activities. And everything was done in partnership with people who live with Parkinson's. Another area of our work is Live Loud, which is a voice support program. About 80% of people with Parkinson's will have their voice affected. This manifests in a variety or all of these ways. So, for example, the voice can become very quiet, almost inaudible to others, even though the person with Parkinson's may not be aware of this. It can also become slurred or stammering. So you can imagine how isolating this can be. By following a series of well-structured and, I have to say, enjoyable voice exercises and facial yoga, people gradually recover the skill to communicate and, importantly, the confidence to take part in conversations. And we have ample quotes for people who have told us about that. Newly diagnosed days is another important element of our work. We do this again with people with Parkinson's and their families, but also with the NHS specialist nurses or therapists. And it's a way of introducing people who have just been recently diagnosed to how to cope and to realize that they're not on their own, and that there are things that they can do to manage the condition as it develops. And so through these sorts of events, we bring people with Parkinson's together from across the community in Wales. And you can see here the event that we had a couple of years ago in Llandudno. It was residential. We've had 4 regional events last year, and this year we're holding another residential event in South Wales this time. We also have initiatives that have been completely led by volunteers, and this is one example, which is Sparky Samba. Again, let me know whether or not you can see the video, and if not, obviously I will be able to send it to you. Not to lose time to have questions and answers. Basically, the video shows people playing very demanding rhythmic drumming, which stimulates the brain. And this research and more research we are doing to see whether that also helps with freezing, with standing up, and with all of those things that we've been talking about. And something else as well that is important is that this is all experimental, but more than anything, people are getting a lot of social interaction as well, which is as important for people's well-being, really. So we also engage in all the kind of devolved areas, and we know that the majority of things affecting in areas of policy affecting people with Parkinson's are devolved to Wales. So, and in those that are not devolved, like for example, welfare benefits, we always make sure that the Welsh voice is present there. And we also are members of various alliances such as the Neurological Alliance, the Carers Alliance, and H Alliance Wales, with whom we also managed to get a stronger voice for everyone in question, really. Campaigning for Parkinson's, there are great misconceptions that campaigning is all about waving placards and marching, but much more subtle things can happen as well, such as letter writing, gathering experiences, asking for freedom of information requests, discussions, and media coverage. So this, an example of a success, for example, is Duodopa is a treatment that is suitable for some people for whom other treatments have not worked. And until a few years back, about 6 years or so, Wales was the only nation of the UK that did not provide the treatment on prescription. It had to go through a lengthy administrative process that caused long delays, which be consuming the consultant's precious time, but more importantly, leaving the person with Parkinson's without the right treatment and worsening symptoms. So we love it, and we gave the evidence at the NHS All Wales Medicine Strategy Group, and we succeeded in securing Duodopa as a prescribed on medication immediately. Through our Excellence Network, we work with the clinical community, and it's very much about learning and development, and it's about bringing the clinical community to become a stronger voice as well. And we, through that, collaborate with all the health boards across Wales, also to make sure that people with Parkinson's are involved in co-designing the improvements that services need. We have an interest group for research, again, people affected by Parkinson's, and these photographs show you a conference we had year before last in Cardiff and in Bangor, both universities on, in person live, but linked by technology, far better linked than what I've managed today, I have to say. Everything worked, videos worked, everything worked. So that was very, very successful way of bringing the research community from the universities and people living with Parkinson's who have an interest in research to come together and start really very much informing what research should be taking place. We engage with the community in community fundraising, as you can imagine. Our Walk for Parkinson's is one of the biggest successes in terms of income generation. And our next one is in Bute Park on Saturday, the 12th of October. So if any one of you is interested in taking part, just drop me a line, and or you can have all the details within the presentation, so you can register online. And it's a great way of raising funds, but it's also fantastic fun to have on the day, because as you can see, there's a village with all different things going on. We had an art exhibition, we had the Sparky Samba last year, it was really lovely. And of course, a cuppa and a cake can also be a very persuasive way to fundraise. So if any of you have any interests on this, please let me know. So then, last but absolutely not least, are our local support groups. They are the strongest Parkinson's community presence and a lifeline for so many people locally. There is a network of vibrant volunteer-led groups and cafes as well across Wales. So Mariette is one of the many talented and inspiring volunteers. And so she tells us there's always someone in the group that says they've been through the same things. It's a really good people and place to understand, and you often can't have those same chats with someone who doesn't have Parkinson's. After Mariette was diagnosed with Parkinson's, she put her fears aside and went along to her local group and has never really looked back. So this is Mariette's motto: I have Parkinson's, but Parkinson's doesn't have me. And now is when we come to any questions that you may have, and so, or comments or complaints. So I'm going to stop sharing.
I have a question. I wondered how much of the how you'd go about if you knew somebody in North Wales with Parkinson's who needed some support, how they would sort of go about finding what was going on locally for them.
Yeah. I'll give you at the end of the presentation, there's the helpline number. We have a number of groups across North Wales in Ynys Môn, Vale of Clwyd, Llandudno, Flintshire, Wrexham, Montgomery. So we have groups all across North Wales, and we have also a very dedicated community development coordinator who supports the groups and also was instrumental in supporting them in all the World Parkinson's Day activities and all of that. So I will give you the information about all of that when I send the presentation to Sarah. I will give you phone numbers and email addresses so that anybody that you know in North Wales who may want to become involved, they can.
But that's great, thank you. Could I ask one additional thing linked to that? If somebody is struggling significantly with anxiety as a part of the condition, and they're kind of quite limited physically as well, so there's anxiety about physically being able to join in with things as well as just general underlying anxiety. Is there any kind of emotional support available for people so that to give them that kind of stepping stone into being able to access the activities and things?
Yes, so we have specialists in our helpline, if that would be suitable. We also have the local advisors who would be able to visit this person if that's agreed between them, who are our experts in providing that emotional support and in linking them to local activities. And if this particular person is not yet working closely with the specialist or particularly the nurse, our advisors would be able to put them in contact with their NHS specialist Parkinson's nurse, who would also work with this person to support them. Some are prescribing nurses, some are not, but work hand in hand with the consultants, because sometimes a medication review can do a lot of good in supporting people with their anxiety. So there can be a combination of social as well as potentially medication changes. It is all according to what the person is really needing.
That's great.
So again, I'll send you all the details for that. Which part of North Wales are you?
Prestatyn.
Prestatyn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll make sure I'll send all the information for across the Wales, but also our website, which is www.parkinsonsuk.co.uk. For those who are able and willing to use internet, we have a whole section about support and how to get hold of all sorts of things and a lot of explanations and things. But some people may prefer to have that face-to-face conversation. So we have a variety of methods according to the people's preference, really.
No, that's great. The people I come across tend to be counselling clients. I'm a counsellor, so hence my sort of question of generally people are on the back foot, you know, with their mental well-being. So I just wondered you know, talking to somebody, a specialist on a helpline could be really helpful for those people to give them that confidence to sort of bridge the gap between not taking part in things and taking part in things. So that's really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. And if they, and the helpline, if they so require, if they ask to have a personal visit, they can refer them to the local advisor who can do a home visit if that's what they prefer.
Brilliant.
And that can be much more personalized. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other comments or questions?
Yes, I'd like to ask about the Wales Research Interest Group at Bangor and Cardiff.
Yeah.
What sort of research do they do? Do they have clients that they take for research, and then do they help them with oh, what's the word? Can't think straight. Does the research sort of help with their progress with the Parkinson's to help them get better, or you know, is it like trials, or do they do research trials, or
It's a combination of things. So it's a group of, we have research interest groups all across the UK, and we have a UK-wide one as well. The one in Wales is a combination of researchers, not only from Bangor and Cardiff, but also from Swansea and from other universities, people living with Parkinson's, and that is the person who has a condition, and quite often the spouses or closest one, family closest one, and they can get involved in reviewing as a lay reviewer, say, for example, a research application to a grant. So they, as lay reviewers, can recommend and say, yes, we think that this research would be of benefit to people with Parkinson's, or to come back and say, what's the point in this? This would help somebody get a PhD, but it would not translate into a real treatment or cure. So we don't support this, or whatever views they may have. So research is always equally informed by people with Parkinson's. They can take part in clinical trials. They can help answering questionnaires. They can help organizing events. So the research interest group in Wales, we have held a number of online events with researchers from across Wales, from across the UK and internationally. And we have also done in-person research events so that people really get to understand what's going on across the research world, and where are we getting with the outcomes. So if somebody has also, and research doesn't have to be necessarily medical only, it can also be about a very important area, for example, is nutrition. Because certain foods can exacerbate the condition, and certain foods can help. So research into other aspects of the condition and the social side is as important as well.
right?
And if anybody's interested in joining it or know of somebody who is, again, please let us know, and we will send you all the details.
Yes, somebody I know would be very interested.
Would this person be in South or North Wales?
North.
Okay, because what we've done since the pandemic, perhaps the one and only advantage of the pandemic was that it made it easier for North and South to meet by online.
Yes.
So that's what we tend to do to make things happen. We meet about 4 or so times a year, a bit more, to plan and to discuss and to exchange ideas, and then we put those events either online or in person, and everybody's involved
Right.
in doing something about it. So I'll make sure that all that information comes as well.
Sorry, could you repeat that, Anna?
Of course, sorry. I'll make sure that all the information about the Wales Research Interest Group is also sent through Sarah.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Not at all. You're welcome. Right. So if there are no more questions or no more comments, I just want to, again, first of all, a sincere apology for the problems, the technical problems, but I really sincerely want to thank you for being here, for having shown an interest in learning a bit more about Parkinson's, and also for your patience and for your engagement. And I hope that you invite me again, and I promise you next time things will work in a far better way. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a very good weekend.